ourselves in easy seated pose. Options to bring the heels in front of one another or the feet stacked on top of each other, whatever feels comfortable today. And then allowing our hands to come to the tops of our knees or our thighs. Tall torso, drawing our shoulders in and back. We'll start by settling into the space around us, taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Noticing the softening of our faces and shoulders. Perhaps everything just starts to melt towards the earth. And now with our awareness on our breath, noticing the gentle inhalation and exhalation through our nose, assuming its natural rhythm. Noticing the energy that we're bringing to the practice today. And as usual, we'll float through a gentle body scan, starting at the head, noting any areas of comfort or discomfort. Making our way evenly throughout the body. Now bringing our awareness to a gentle reflection on the week or days past. Anything that made us smile, feel loved, supported, congratulated, proud, and confident. Celebrating any milestone, activity, or event that was successful and brought us a sense of peace and confidence. Bringing our awareness back to the breath, blinking our eyes open. We'll give our legs a little shake, extending them in front of us. And then we'll cross them over, opposite over opposite. And bringing our arms all the way up over our shoulders, inhaling, reaching the fingertips to the sky, elongating the sides of our torsos. Bringing our hands together in Kali Mudra, making a pistol with our hands gazing up if that feels comfortable. Deep breaths in to expand the rib cage laterally. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. And we'll gently twist over to the right. Inhale, reaching all the way back up, centering ourselves. Exhaling, rotating to the opposite side. And we'll float through this, inhaling, reaching up. Exhale, floating and rotating. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, rotating opposite side. Slowly starting to bring warmth and awareness to the spine, the neck, the shoulders. Maybe gazing over our shoulder a little bit more each time. Noticing the sensations in our bodies. We'll do one more on each side. This time we'll hold. Coming into our rotation, holding here. Checking in with the sensations. Breathing into any possible areas of discomfort. Noticing their transformation. Maintaining a tall torso, pressing our fingertips up and elongating through the spine. Two more big breaths here. And on the next inhale, we reach up, centering ourselves. Exhale, alternating sides, rotating over, gazing over the shoulder. Once again, pressing the fingertips into the floor. Noticing the sensations. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Two more. And on the next inhale, we center ourselves, reaching up, gazing up, exhaling, hinging forward, bringing our hands to the earth, checking in with our sit bones, ensuring that they're still firmly planted, grounding through the hips. Elongating the torso on the inhale, melting on the exhale. Not pushing too far, too fast, letting our breath guide us. Grabbing our blocks if we want to bring the earth closer to us. And of course, allowing our head to hang heavy between the arms if that feels good on the neck. Noticing any patterns of tension that might run from the neck all the way through the back, down the hip, maybe even into the leg. And on the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up, stacking the vertebrae, shoulders, neck, and head. Extending the legs out in front of us, giving them a little wiggle. And one more time, we'll tuck the opposite underneath. So the leg we started with, only to do our forward fold, getting into position. Whichever easy seated pose works best for us today. Inhaling, reaching the arms up, elongating through the sides, and exhale, hinging forward, grounding through the hips. Bringing our hands to the earth for support, finding our block as needed, and slowly melting with each exhalation. Once again, being aware of the sensations, patterns, areas of discomfort. Bringing our awareness there and celebrating any micro gains that we make in releasing tension, blocked energy, and additional flexibility to our practice. inhale, we'll press ourselves up gently, stacking the vertebrae. Opening our legs wide on the mat, extending them to the corners. That'll feel good on the knees, I'm sure. And adjusting with our hands to press ourselves a little bit more forward, starting to open up the inner thighs. You might feel that already. And we'll start with a couple of side bends. So lifting our left arm up over the shoulder. Slowly walking the right hand along the leg or the mat, reaching the torso tall, and opening up the left side of the body all the way from the fingertips through the armpit, down the side, into the hip, possibly wrapping into the lower back, using our hands and our arms for support as needed and desired. Only stacking the arm if it feels comfortable and it doesn't add any stress or tension to the side body or lower back. If it does, we lower it, or we bring it behind our back. Noticing small releases of tension, breathing space and lightness into those areas. Two more breaths here. And on the inhale, we'll swing our arm up, stacking our torso back to center. Deep breath in between. Resetting. Bringing the right arm up over our shoulder, inhaling. And on the exhale, we slowly start to hinge over to the left, walking our left hand along the mat or our leg. Reaching the right arm tall, keeping it over the ear if it feels comfortable, or again, finding a placement for it. The feet can be relaxed. Slowly melting towards the earth a little bit more with each exhalation. Being aware of how the sensations transform. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Two more breaths. And then on the next inhale, we stack the torso back into the center, bringing our arms down. Readjusting, resetting, bringing the legs to the corners. They may have slipped in a little bit. We press ourselves forward as possible, and this time we'll keep our feet flexed. Toes are pointed to the sky. We'll hinge forward. So inhaling, reaching our arms up. Exhale, forward fold into the inner thigh muscles. This might be enough. That is fine. We use our block as needed, trying to keep the toes pointed up to the sky. We slowly melt in towards the inner thigh muscles, releasing any tension we might be holding or transferring to our jaw, our neck, and our shoulders. Bringing the earth up a little bit closer can help with that. And again, just being aware of the sensations and how they're changing and shifting. Even if it's a small change, a small shift, that means we're not stuck or blocked. That means there's movement, and if there's movement, there's progress. Checking in with the toes. Have we fallen inwards? Are we still rooting through our hips and keeping our toes pointed high? Using our breath to guide us, not pushing too far, too fast. Great. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up. Releasing out of that, bringing the bottoms of the feet together in front of us. Gentle release of the knees. Wrapping our hands around the back of the feet, so the part that's on the mat. Tucking the heels in as close as possible, rolling the shoulder blades back, elongating the torso, butterflying the legs. Nice dynamic pose, dynamic butterflies. Warming a little bit more into the hips. Good. Inhaling, tall torso, drawing the shoulder blades in and back, and we hinge forward, using our hands as leverage, finding length from the hips up through the head. Releasing the shoulders, the knees, allowing ourselves just to round forward, tucking our chins into our chest, releasing the hands, softening the entire body. Noticing any releases in the neck. And we'll slowly stack the vertebrae one at a time, noticing any new heat and sensations that we've generated. Extending our legs out in front of us, long on the mat, coming into staff pose, Dandasana. Giving the legs a little wiggle, that might feel good. And we'll do a little dynamic motion here, so ensuring that our sit bones are firmly planted, adding a rotation. Inhale, reaching our arms up. We hinge forward, we rotate back, reaching our arms. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, opposite side, reaching the arms back, toes are pointed to the sky. Inhale up. Opposite side, we continue to alternate, flowing with our breath. Starting to warm into the back of the legs. Big reach. Once again, noticing any areas of discomfort, additional energy in one spot or another. Seeing if those areas transform at all through our practice. Bringing awareness, heat, light, and blood to the area to help it recover and to release. We'll do one more on each side, but this time we'll hold. Exhale, reaching back, allowing the head to fall down between the arms, holding here, toes are pointed up. Deep breaths. And now touching base with any patterns of tension that we might have. Visualizing the energy in our back body. Excellent. Next inhale, we'll slowly reach ourselves up, bringing our torso back to center. Exhale, rotating to the other side, reaching back, head hangs heavy. Deep breaths. Melting into the areas of discomfort, patterns that may be running from the head, through the shoulder, down the spine, into the lower back. Perhaps we're feeling a little more heat generating. Heat that will soothe and warm. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, we gently reach up. Coming back to center. Exhale, we hinge forward, reaching towards our feet. If you are feeling accessible today to grabbing the toes or wrapping the hands around the tops of the feet, that's great. If not, simply allowing the arms to fall naturally where they will. Keeping our feet together, toes are pointed up, head can hang heavy. Making the pose fit our bodies and getting out of the pose what we need today. Good. On the next inhale, we slowly stack the vertebrae one at a time. Shoulders, neck, and head. Pointing and flexing the feet, wiggling at the ankles. Good. And we'll come into a seated tree pose. Maybe we tuck the left leg in to start, shifting our hips over to the right side of the mat. Making sure that our left knee will stay on the mat. We'll bring our hand under our shoulder and we'll press our hips up. So deep breaths in. Exhaling, pressing our hips up, planting our right foot, reaching our right arm over our face. Gentle back bend here, opening our chest and our hips. Breathing calm and steady, finding somewhere to gaze at. Maybe we gaze down at our left hand, reaching our right arm over. Pressing into the left arm, opening up the left side of the chest. Excellent. We come out of that nice and gently just as we came in. And we'll shift all the way over to the other side. Left leg extends long on the mat, right foot tucks in, making sure that the knee is supported and cushioned on the mat. Right hand comes under the shoulder, we lift our hips and left arm, planting the left foot. Again, we match the pose to our bodies. We fit into it as it suits us, opening up the chest, coming into a gentle back bend, noticing an opening in the hips. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Great. Come on out of that. Sink our hips all the way back down, bringing both hands behind us, extending our legs in front of us. We'll come into a reverse table. So tucking the feet about hip width apart. Inhaling, and on the exhale, we lift the hips, pressing into the arms, gentle opening, feeling the sensations running from the shoulders down the front of the arms and into the hands. Lifting our hips as high as possible, engaging the glutes, and maintaining our calm, steady rhythm of breath. Ensuring that we can move our head around. Maybe we allow it to drop behind. Three more breaths. And we slowly lower our hips back to the earth, scooching our hips towards our feet, and we'll lower back all the way down, bringing our spine and our head to the earth, keeping our feet firmly planted hip width apart. We'll come into a bridge pose here, gently lifting the hips, pressing into the shoulder blades, the back of the head, curling our chin into our chest, shifting our focus to our quadriceps, recruiting muscles in the quadriceps to release a little bit of tension on the glutes and the lower back. Noticing our breath. And we come out of that. Hugging our knees into our chest. Wrapping our arms around the shins or the thighs. Just gently hugging the knees in, curling up into a little ball. This time bringing awareness to the hip flexors in the front, the lower back. Just noticing what's happening in those areas of the body. Holding for a little bit longer so as to notice and witness transformation. Great. Bringing the right foot to the outer edge of the mat. And the left leg can come into a figure four. We'll come into a rotation over to the left. Option to stay in figure four, option to eagle the legs depending on the level of intensity that might create on our lower back. Slowly rotating over to the left, extending the arms. Maybe in a T, maybe floating them above the head. Hanging out here for a moment. Checking in with the right side of the lower back, through the hip, down the IT band, possibly into the knee. Not running away from any discomfort, but rather building our relationship with it. Staying with the process and noticing those slight micro gains in flexibility, releases of tension. Noticing what's happening in our abdomen and our breath. Are we still fluid and soft? Have we transferred any energy there that we can let go of? Stacking our knees back on top, untwining, bringing the left foot to the outer edge of the mat, and then stacking our right foot over the thigh, either in figure 4 or an eagle. Starting in one, transferring to another, and slowly allowing the knees to shift over to the right side. Once again, finding a placement for our arms, maybe over our body, on top of our abdomen, or out like a T. Checking in with the patterns of tension. Maybe shifting our awareness to celebration, gratitude of what our bodies can do, the areas of comfort and lightness, the mobility that we do have. Being present in this moment as we nurture our bodies and give it the time it needs to restore and reset. Slowly stacking the knees once again, untwining, and giving ourselves another little hug. Bringing the knees into our chest. Maybe this time we lift our shoulders and head off the earth. Perhaps we shift our weight left to right, massaging the spine, bringing a little bit more blood circulation and warmth to the muscles and tissues that run alongside the spine. Stacking our feet over our hips, flexing, driving the heels up, bringing our head back to the earth. Extending the feet up, feeling the energy running up through the hamstrings, the calf muscles into the feet, maybe giving the feet another little wiggle, flexing and pointing. Great. Bringing the heels back towards our butt, rolling over, gently pressing ourselves up, and we'll come into tabletop pose, bringing our hands under our shoulders, knees underneath our hips, shifting our weight left to right, slowly settling into the pose. Noticing what's happening in the lower back, and the hips, shoulders. Allowing our heads to hang heavy between our arms and to float. Noticing how unstuck we are. Noticing the fluidity of motion, moving as the body craves. Coming back to neutral, running through 5 gentle cats and cows, pressing the hands into the earth, starting with the tailbone, arching the lower back, pressing the hands, lifting the chest and head. Again, starting with the tailbone, rounding out, and gazing back towards our feet. We'll do 4 more just like that, slow and steady. Feeling the opening of our muscles, creating space between the vertebrae. Feeling the vitality rushing through every part of our body. Noticing what muscles engage. Feeling our strength and our flexibility. Deep breath in. Pressing out the way, gazing up. Exhaling. Looking back, curling our head between our arms, curling our toes under our shins, and we step up into down dog. Finding grounding in our fingers. Taking a moment to pedal the feet, lifting one heel at a time, shifting our weight. Shifting the hips if that feels good. Noticing energy running down the outside of the legs, maybe through the side body. Whatever feels good. And making our way back to neutral down dog. The feet are about hip width apart, our hands are about shoulder width apart. Pressing our weight towards the heels. Pressing our heels towards the earth. Strong upper body, melting our shoulders in towards the mat, allowing our heads to hang heavy. Long spine. 2 more breaths here. Now we'll float our left leg high above the mat. Bending at the knee, opening up, rotating. Most of our weight will be in our right hand and right foot. Stacking our knee on top of the hips if accessible. Good. We'll float back to center, gazing forward, stepping through low lunge. Bringing our right knee to the earth, flattening our right foot. And we're going to start with our hands on our left thigh, getting into position here, tall torso, sinking our hips forward, rolling our shoulders back, mind floated up towards my ears. And slowly opening into the hip flexor, melting our hips towards the earth, staying square. Finding our block for support as needed. We can bring it to the inside of our foot. Just assuring that we're not falling too far, too fast in any pose that might cause us more stress. Tall torso, soft jaw, and gaze on our faces. Options to stack the right arm over the shoulder for a little added depth and intensity if that feels accessible. Being gentle here so as not to poke the tiger, knowing that our psoas might be holding a bit of emotion and tension to protect us that we might not be ready to let go of. Option to bring that right arm across the body, reaching it beyond the left leg, and finding support as needed, making the pose fit our body. We get out of it what we need. No competition, expectation, or judgment. We honor the state of our body. Good, bringing our right hand back down to the earth. Shifting our focus now to the quadriceps. So walking our left foot to the edge, gaining some stability here. Reaching our left arm back, opening into a gentle twist. Bringing our right foot off the earth. Option to grab onto the foot, to grab our strap if that helps us bring our foot a little bit closer. We're slowly melting off of our right knee. Into the hip flexor. Working into the entire quadricep muscle, bringing the heel closer towards our body as possible. Maintaining a tall torso, gazing over the left shoulder, opening the left chest, pectoral muscles, breathing into any areas of discomfort where we might be holding extra tension and energy. Noticing micro releases, slow and steady. Good. Releasing the back foot, bringing our torso back to center, walking our left foot over to the right hand, pigeon pose. Left knee lowers. This might be as low as we can go. We've got our block for underneath our left hip to give us a little support. Again, we're not stressing ourselves today. Keeping ourselves forward facing, inhaling, lifting our torso tall, breathing into the abdomen and lower back. And then as and when ready, with each exhalation, we can hinge forward. Maintaining a tall torso, elongated spine, walking our hands out, bringing our block in front for support as needed. And of course, we have our hands, our fists, etc. Perhaps bringing our awareness back to the breath. Perhaps bringing it to our earlier reflection at the beginning of our practice. Reflecting on the things of the past week that made us feel proud of our efforts, confident in our abilities. Events, moments that made us smile, feel loved and supported. Bringing that gratitude to our minds and our hearts. As we ease into the pose and melt towards the earth. Being grateful for the ability to move in this way, however that might be for us today. On the next inhale, we'll press ourselves up, using our hands to press against the earth. We'll roll over to the left, out of this, back into our all fours. Hands under our chest, knees under our hips, and we'll rinse that out, left to right, gentle sway. Coming back to neutral. Big, deep breath in. Curling our toes under our shins, we lift our hips, down dog, exhale. Pressing our heels towards the earth, finding grounding of our hands into the mat. And we'll shift over to the opposite leg, letting it float high. This might be your right leg if you're with me. Pressing all of our weight into our left heel and left hand. Bending the knee, rotating and opening the hips, stacking the right knee on top of the hips if it feels accessible. Finding length On the right side of the body, from the fingertips through the armpits, down the side, into the hip. Strength in the left side of our body. Calm, steady rhythm of breath. Now we'll come back to center, gazing forward. We step through low lunge, bringing our left knee to the earth, flattening the left foot, finding stability here, bringing our hands to our thigh, and allowing ourselves to melt forward, opening up the left hip flexor, finding our block as needed for support. The goal is to slowly start coming off of the kneecap and coming onto the thigh muscles. Celebrating where we are, not worrying about where we're not. We celebrate what we can do. We don't worry about what we can't do. Softening of our face and our jaw. Tall torso, pressing into the hip flexor as much as the body will allow. If we're feeling steady and solid, and that we want to add a little intensity, we are welcome to lift the left arm over the shoulder. Again, making sure we have support where needed. Making sure that we're not pushing ourselves into a pose too quickly, that we aren't shifting our stress and tension to another part of our body in order to compensate, such as our shoulder, our neck, our jaw. That's not the goal. Yeah, maybe we cross our left arm over, rotating gently, reaching beyond the right knee if accessible. Again, there's no competition. We do what suits us. All the while breathing steady and noticing whatever sensations we might be feeling. Working to let those go. Moving the energy around. Creating space for blockages to clear. Good. Bringing our left hand back to the earth. We walk our right foot out. Gentle rotation. Lifting our back foot, optional. Option to grab the foot or wrap a strap around it. Tall torso, reaching long and creating space in our chest, opening up between the collarbones, between the shoulders. And then slowly shifting our focus to the quadricep muscles of the left leg, drawing the heel in. Slow and steady. We're not losing our form. We're not collapsing into our left arm. Strong pressing through the arm. Lifting the chest, lifting the shoulders. Great, releasing the back foot, rotating back to center, planting both hands. We walk the right foot over to the left, maybe lifting the hips a little bit to get there. Lowering the right knee towards the right wrist. And again, finding our block to support the hip as needed, maybe a cushion. And starting off with a big inhale, pressing the earth away, lifting our torso, opening the abdomen, gazing up. A couple of deep breaths here, melting into the right hip. And with each exhalation, we can hinge forward, bringing the earth closer to us with our blocks, or slowly walking our arms down onto our forearms, fists, or hands. Keeping our hips forward facing. And noticing what's happening. Slowly melting towards the earth. Noticing the softness of our faces and our jaws, the shoulders, and our breath. Noticing if our mind starts to float to different thoughts. And bringing our awareness back to the breath and the physical sensations. Not trying to change our thoughts or our ideas, but just noticing that they're there. It was a distraction. And we bring our awareness back gently. Maintaining our presence in this moment. The time we're taking to nourish for ourselves. Yeah, we'll be here for 2 more breaths. We'll slowly press ourselves up with our hands. Shifting our weight over to the right side, our hip, extending our legs out in front of us, giving them a little shake, a little wiggle. Nice. Inhaling, reaching our arms up over our shoulders. One more time, forward fold. Keeping our arms parallel to the earth, reaching our fingertips beyond our feet. Allowing our heads to hang heavy through our arms, option to hold here, option to pulse, option to bring the arms towards our shins or the floor. Good. And slowly rolling out of that, bringing the vertebrae tall, rolling all the way backwards, allowing the spine to come to the earth, shoulders and head, using the abdomen muscles to slowly allow ourselves to get to the earth. We have 2 options here, bringing the feet again, shoulder width, hip width, firmly planted 90 degrees. We can come back up into a bridge. We can come into an upward bow, or we can float our legs over our heads into a cloud pose, whatever feels best for you today. Or we can hang out in Shavasana and get a head start on imprinting the practice on our bodies. So one way or the other, perhaps we try something new today, or perhaps we're ready to just settle and reset. Listening to our bodies, doing what our bodies are telling us we need. Maybe we try a few of the different poses, or maybe we curl into a little ball, giving ourselves a nice little hug. Again, taking a few moments here to do some final movements that suit our bodies. Loading our knees into our chest and then outwards into happy baby. Grabbing for the toes or wrapping our hands under our feet. Feeling the contact that our body makes on the earth below. maybe a different part of the spine, shoulder blades, and the back of the head. Bringing the feet together and then lowering them to the earth. Final hug if you feel that that's in order. And then we'll slowly float our legs long on the mat. Setting ourselves up in Shavasana or coming into fetal pose. Hands on our hips, above our head or alongside our bodies, whatever feels comfortable. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth. Letting go of any residual energy, tension, emotion that may not be serving us anymore. Anything that we may have moved through and worked through our practice. Perhaps taking a moment to set an intention or an affirmation for the days ahead. Once again, running through a body scan from head to toe, noticing any changes of our energy, changes of our sensations, new areas of comfort and lightness. Maybe noticing the light that might be shining through us, the space that we've created. Being aware of our light and letting it shine through us, touching others around us. With smiles on our faces, we give thanks for the opportunity to practice, thanks for the strength of our bodies, fluidity and flexibility of our bodies at the beginning and end of our practice, and our confidence to keep coming to the mat, to build whatever tools that we need in our toolbox. Taking the time we need to imprint our practice. And whenever we're ready, we'll curl up into another little ball, roll over and press ourselves up gently, coming back to the space around us. Thank you for joining and allowing me to be a part of your journey. Namaste.